Hey guys, how you doing? We're going to do a rapid game on Lichess again. And turn my volume down. Go for 15 plus 10. If there's anybody else on Lichess who fancies a 15 plus 10, who knows? Apparently not. Okay, we're going into chess.com instead. Do a 15-10 there. See if that works. Different colour scheme too. Okay, we've got an opponent rated 1472 who's played e4. So we know what to do here. King's Knight opening and a Scotch. Okay, so we don't know which way this is going to go. I'm going to take the pawn. If takes, we're going to go into Steinitz. Okay, so the Steinitz Scotch works well at the up to 2000, I would probably say. That's according to the research I've done on Lichess players database. Thing is that it's against the most natural and logical moves that most intermediate players will make. It's quite good, and you can very often find yourself going into the middle game, very often with one extra pawn, which happens to be very often on c6. You can castle either side, and it's a really good exercise in just trying to convert a small advantage into a win, which is what I like about it. It's kind of boring and grown up. Okay, so what we've done here, this knight is trying to defend the pawn, so we've pinned the knight on the king. Knight now can't defend the pawn. So we are simply now threatening again to capture on e4 with a queen. If they capture here, then you take the pawn, and because you're not in any hurry to recapture the knight. If the queen goes here, you've got a double pin situation where nobody can move. So you trade queens and then win the knight back, because when you trade queens, white is forced to recapture, usually with a bishop. Okay, this is also a move. And here we go, knight f6, putting a second attacker on this pawn. Again, this guy's still pinned. So if the knight takes here, again we can, but here's the issue right now. If the knight takes, we take, that if we take, they take, we recapture, we can't recapture the knight. So if the knight takes, we have to recapture immediately. That's the thing. This is needing to understand tempo and just doing that, starting with that simple calculation. You know, you're not going full Hikaru, but we're going, okay, you take, I take, the knight can't take because it's still pinned, but if queen takes, we recapture, and then it's white to move, and then this knight runs away and takes our bishop. Another option is to take the knight here, because if queen takes, we can then win this pawn. With check, they have to block the check somehow, and then we win the knight back. But queen takes, offering up your queen, just gives away the advantage of the tempo in a sense. So I'm really just trying to slow down and play a more methodical way. If I'm going to get to 1600, what's it? So yeah, highest I've been about 1675, but that was like momentary. I had a purple patch when everything was just going. What's the drug that they use on Limitless? AZT. Yeah, maybe I ran out of AZT. Great movie, by the way. Not sure about the series. I haven't really watched the series, but the movie's fantastic. Just on my black coffee today. I'm going food free until this evening. Got my flypaper up. It's picked up a couple of medium-sized ones. Got 3 hanging now. Okay, right, now you have to start thinking. Okay, I can win this with the knight, because this knight is pinned and can't take, right? So I can take that with the knight. I can take this knight. He can recapture with queen or bishop, and then I can win this pawn. Actually, if he... yeah, no, I can. I want that one pawn advantage for sure. Also, there's no major rush. You know, don't think, okay, what are my options? Knight takes, queen takes, and bishop takes, and that's it. You know, there's also castles, for example, which might be good. Knight takes puts more pressure on this guy here. If knight takes, queen can't take, because white loses his queen, right? Knight takes, what am I threatening? I mean, it's defended twice. I'm threatening to take, but what that means is that B takes has to be the first move. So maybe, actually, bishop takes, B takes. Also, this bishop's also trying to defend there, in case of knight takes. If knight takes here and bishop takes, the bishop still defends. Same with if queen takes. So f2 is defended. This is playable, but like we say, hang on. If I take now, queen takes, I take, knight still can't take. Yeah, and this pins the bishop too. If I do nothing, my opponent, I think I need to capture. And I'm feeling like knight takes or queen takes is fine. Queen takes pins the bishop. Queen takes me, I recapture, I've won the pawn. I don't see a problem with it. I think 2 minutes, that's enough calculation for that one move. Threatening to take his queen, let's say bishop recaptures. Then I can take the knight and double up his pawns there if I want, and then I might short castle. Okay. I think that makes a lot more sense now. Bishop takes, which is a logical move. You're in the opening phase. You've got a choice of recapturing with the pawn, which will from then on be isolated. Oh, rook takes, hello. Ah, I didn't even consider rook takes. See? You've got to consider things in chess. Could trade knights here. Bishop then takes. Huh. I don't want to give up my bishop for a knight at this point in time. I don't see any reason to do that. And I don't want him to be capturing here. Is it time to get my other bishop out? Maybe bishop f5, long castles. This is my extra pawn. You see, we've done what we set out to do, which is to get that one extra pawn. This doesn't make sense to me. Knight's not going to come in here anyway, so this pawn isn't required for the defense of these squares because they're still defended. Do I want to fianchetto this bishop? I don't see any reason for that. The king's on the opposite side of the board. If I do this knight takes, it means I have to recapture with B. That's not the end of the world. Let's short castle and then have a think. Peter Knight 01 comes from Japan. I can attack the rook as well. Actually, that forces the rook backwards. And then I can take the knight and mess up his pawns around his king. Double isolated pawns and an isolated A pawn. That is a move I did not consider. Perhaps I should. See, because the rook's got nowhere to go here, so he has to retreat. Or trade himself for a knight, which would be very, very bad idea. In a completely open board, I mean, that's the other thing that's really interesting about the Steinitz. You get these completely open boards. Okay. So again, calculation. I attack your rook. You take my bishop, I take your rook, you take my bishop. I've lost knight. I've lost a knight and a bishop for a rook. That isn't a good deal. This is also a move I need to worry about. Coming in here, hitting this undefended pawn. So I'm thinking this for now, because it defends that pawn. If he double kicks, I just drop back to b6. This is still a move. So the goal right now is obviously to get to 1600. I'm 1561 right now. This is my default idea. Driving the rook back, at which point I grab the knight and force b takes here. Now of course then I won't have a dark squared bishop or a queen. My opponent will have the bishop pair. So the question is this damage to pawn structure worth giving up the bishop pair for? That is a very good question. It doesn't actually win material. Got this and this also forces the rook back. I think completing development is rather important now. Actually, that loses the bishop to the knight. I could wipe out the knight as well, that's another option. That improves the rook. Gives it a lot of horizontal movement on third. Alright, you're coming off to my bish. I think I can just drop down here. Or can I just go after the rook now? Go after the rook. He can't go there, he can't go there. He could come forward. It doesn't make any difference. I take out that knight. Okay, I hit the rook. If you take the bishop, I take rook. Again, it's two pieces for not doing it. I'm going to just drop the bishop back to b6. If takes, got a takes. Okay. So, but what we've had there is a bishop trade, right? Now we each have a light squared bishop. Nobody has a dark squared bishop, and there he goes attacking my weak pawn, and I'm struggling to defend it other than, hang on, this doesn't work, but this does. I defend the pawn. I'm going to have to try and get that knight out of there, and this is the Achilles heel of the Steinitz defense. Or the Steinitz attack, whatever we want to call it. So probably now I'm going to be thinking about develop my knight with tempo, push c6, hitting the knight, telling the knight to, in a polite way, to clear off out of there. Opponent's playing pretty good moves though. There, and then probably something like that. Hello. What's your idea? I've got this as well. Try and trade off the knight. Can't go there because it's attacked twice and completely undefended. But here, if he takes, I've got rook takes. Where else can he go? That's out. That's kind of out because I'll trade off. So he's going to go back there. So let's... Oh no, that's not out because my knight isn't there anymore. Visualization. And next is going to come like pawn pushes, and then I'll unleash the bish. think it'll be interesting to go back to that kind of Tarantino moment in the middle where I could have taken with three different pieces. Okay, he's gone for this. C5 looks super natural. If he comes in here, right, eyeing up G7, I'm not averse to pawn G6. Well, it's not actually kicking the knight because I can't capture. But because he's only got a light squared bishop, I don't mind opening up the dark squares. That's fine. It's not a biggie. I kind of like this move. It also takes this square away from this knight here. Can't come there. If he comes here, I don't know. He is threatening, so I think we need to do this. And now I'm going to try and occupy the center a bit more and claim my my right to a bit more control over the board, seeing as I've got the extra pawn. Because of all the kind of tactical mucking about in the middle, I have been a bit slow to develop. Also, this comes with the discovery on the knight. Got knight here as well. That's an idea. Threatens to trade off. Says clear off out of there, Mr. Knight. Funnily enough, my opponent's name is Mr. Knight. There's nothing there. It pins this pawn. I've got knight here, but oh, it stops that as well, actually. I've got knight here and then d5. Oh, actually, no. What am I talking about? That's a double attack. If d5, so he has to come back here, yes? So I push d5. If he takes, he loses his knight. That's not going to happen. d5. The knight's under attack by the bishop. Oh, hang on. That can win the bishop. I've got this. Covers that square. Is this a good move? Well, I mean, it's not like that knight's doing anything at all sat in the corner. It is improving the knight. That's our point. That's what we need to do when we move into the middle game. I'm actually, not completed development here. If I do this, he's just going to come in, I think, force my king into the corner, take the bishop, rook takes. That's not terrible. My rook's then engaged. I can get to d8, push d5, try and cramp his bishop style. I've got this as well, cramps the bishop style. Bishop might come here. I'm kind of liking this move now. I don't know what I'm meant to be worried about with this bishop development here. Pins this pawn. Okay, let's do this. Good play though from Peter. No, I am threatening this. Knight comes in, just loses the knight. This knight has got worries of its own. It can only go back like here. So this knight is a bad knight. Because this pawn is pinned, this knight is not under threat right now. But the moment I move off, if I go to h8, then this knight has to move. And he can't go there. And he can't go there. And he can't go there. He could... Oh, he's also got a check here. Didn't even see that. Didn't even look for that. Right. It might be time to unleash this, don't you? We attack the bishop and this knight, which is also undefended. So I'm expecting bishop d3. But if bishop d3, no, I have c4, pawn fork on bishop and knight. So that isn't even playable. This counterattacking this knight doesn't work because bishop takes knight, pawn takes bishop. He played that move in 30. Oh, nice one. Nice one, brother. Right. But again, I'm attacking the knight one more time. One more time. And he's figured that out, so he's got to give up the knight. I take knight, he takes the pawn. This knight is not in danger. This pawn, however, is. Can't block. I think we just take the pawn. I think we do. He's now wanting to come down here. I'm not too concerned. I take there. He's going to come down here, threatening to take. Takes. Could just play that. So after he takes, I recapture with a rook. But I don't really want him to have 3 pawns coming down at my king. I'd rather he just had 2. It's not like my pieces are impotent either. I've got a bishop here. I've got a knight that can fly in. Another knight that can fly in. Both then controlling light squares. So for example, this move, he comes in, he takes there, take it with a knight. For example. It's possible. Here he comes, look. I've also got this, actually, quite like that move. I like that a lot. Developing also just then releases this rook too. I'm a full piece up now. I have the 2 knights. This comes with attack on there, but actually I can't take this pawn because after rook takes, this pawn can't recapture because it's pinned by this rook. So it's not really a fork. Well, it is really a fork, but it's only a 1-pronged fork because the other prong is bent. Now, what's the point in that then? What's your game? I'm really liking this though still. Rook d8 hits the bish. Puts then a second attacker on this. He comes here attacking my rook, though. I take the bish, he takes the rook. Doesn't work. I attack the bishop with rook d8. He attacks that. I take. Bishop takes. Again, he's lost nothing. So knight f6 then prevents also this move. And then maybe rook d8. Sober, sensible chess backed up with some logic. It's a new world. But that's what I'm going to have to do if I want to get up towards 2,000, guys. And that's all I want to do in chess. I want to hit 2,000 rapid. Chess.com style. Lichess style is a lot easier. I think Lichess I'd have to get up to like 2-3 or something like that. Okay. Well, shall I just take the bishop? I mean, it feels to me as though that bishop is a rather good piece. It gives him technically a passed pawn. I could play rook d8 and then plan to take the bishop and recapture the pawn with a rook. I could play knight e7, hitting the bishop one more time. But I feel like this is just a good move. So now I'm threatening to win a pawn. Takey, takey, takey. Then the knight has to move because it's got 2 rooks on its case. Ooh, okay. Let's just have a thinkaroo here. I've got bishop takes, I've got pawn takes. I like bishop takes, just because these two are tied together now. He can't take there, bang. Oh, actually, this knight is important for defending that pawn, because it's... oh no, I can take with the king. What am I talking about? What are you like? Yeah, I was just about to say, this pawn is undefended on b7. So it might be good to put a rook on 7th. Because we've got two backwards pawns. I mean, this one's on its own, but this is technically backwards. That's also a good backwards pawn, actually. Or rearmost pawn. If you have a pawn chain, you have a rearmost pawn. The backwards pawn is slightly different. Okay, we're still +3 materials. Opponent has 6 minutes on the clock. We have 7.5. There is an increment. And we enjoy the advantage of 2 extra knight. Well, 1 extra knight. We have both knights. So, for knights to be powerful, they get powerful in the centre of the board, and they also get powerful the further up the board that they climb. On the 6th and 7th ranks, they become very evil indeed. Back here, they've just got kind of more defensive roles. You know. Here, defends this pawn. Anyway, the present issue is I might take his bishop. He's used a minute already on this turn. I think I want to take out the bishop, to be fair. I'm just going to do that without second thought. And then I'm going to put my knight here. Why? Because A, it's in the centre. Right? B, it's defended by this guy. You know, it's closer to the king. It's in my opponent's half of the board. All good things. All pluses. It's not really defending anything in particular there, but it's also threatening it. It's one move away from a check. Right, you have to take the knight, surely. Also, my bishop is covering these squares around the king. So actually, if not for this knight, that's actually checkmate. Okay, right. Okay, this is a counterattack, so he's counterattacking my rook. He knows he can have the knight anyway. So, decent play there. Can I flip this in any way? For example, if I could go there, counterattack his rook. But then my knight falls. My knight can't move and defend the rook because it's on the wrong colour. I can see that instantly. I don't even need to check that. If they're on opposite colours, my knight has to move onto a dark square, which means it's only looking at light squares. I could just drop my rook all the way back to f7. Like I said, it would be good to have a rook on the 7th rank. He takes here, I take here. He's not threatening my king. Again, wrong colour. So that when that knight moves, he'll only be looking at light squares. My king is not on a light square. If I move here, he's got this. But then I think This is okay. Yeah. Now you take the knight, and I'm going to put my knight here. Also kind of blunts this rook a little bit. At least for a turn, you know. Means he's going to have to use a tempo to get onto a better file. Ooh, also threatening this. You see? That's why knight, honestly, knight's my favourite piece. They're the best looking piece as well. All the other pieces are symmetrical, and the knight is like, no, horse. I'm going to be represented by horse. 3 minutes now for opponent. You have to recapture the knight. Okay, threatening this. That was 47 seconds. So he's used his last 3 moves, 3:28. His last 3 moves take him over 3 minutes in total. He's only got 3 minutes. So he has now to move quicker. Okay, what I need to do is use my 6.5 minutes to my advantage. Okay, so the immediate threat is the king rook 4, because that's just winning, basically. Because if I can win this rook, I unpin my bishop, means the knight's under attack, and he's seen it. Okay. I can put my rook back here. Also threatens this. I don't see an issue. In fact, my rook can go there anyway. So the point there is that I'm now also threatening this again. If knight takes, I can recapture. All good for me. Also, this pawn's hanging. If the knight moves. So he's defended this. I imagine he was also defending that. I don't know. But forcing the knight off the board means that we're in a situation I've got 2 rooks and the bishop, he's got 2 rooks. We just simplify down there. Just knuckle down. Do what needs to be done. Win this pawn back. I think that would be a jolly good idea. I think, you know, so yeah, knight here. He'll have to take. I recapture. He's got maybe this to defend the pawn. But what was it? Was it the pawn fork on knight and bishop that won me the material? I think. I have another check here as well, by the way, which will force the king here. Check there. He's not going to give up the exchange. He's down to 1.5 minutes. If he lets me do this, this pawn will probably fall. In fact, if he does that... Hang on, no, what am I talking about? It's me to do that. Yeah, he does have this. Down to 1 minute now. Pretty solid game overall, I feel like. I think tactically, Peter played jolly well. Okay, he attacks rook. I come in here with check. King has to move. I take rook, you take rook. That suits me down to the ground. And then, by the way, the knight falls. I imagine the rook is going to... Here, if the king goes to there, he's in a bit of a bother, right? In fact, where else can he go? He can go here, but that's terrible because I take the rook with a discovered check, so that's not on. Therefore, the king is going to have to move on to a light square. Therefore, the king is going to be in line with my bishop. Okay, so king moves on to a light square. I take this. He takes this. Oh no, you can't because you'd be putting yourself in check. Ha-ha. It's 8:35 on a Monday morning. And my brain works. I can even pre-move that. I mean, the king has to move. There's no... You can't block a knight check unless you can capture the attacker. Oh, you did it. But that's no better because now you're in a discovered check anyway. And I'm also... Oh. But hey. 37 seconds. Okay, I'm +4. I'm up a bishop and a pawn now. I'm 100% trading off. Okay, and we have ourselves an endgame, guys. Let's try and trade off the knights as well. He's now got 10 seconds on average to make his moves. He's on 34, 33 seconds. Right, I want to centralise my king. I want to think how I'm going to use my pieces. He might move there and hit my bishop. This is fine, I'll come in. I don't need the bishop. He's got a check here, but f1 is undefended. Curses. Okay. Okay, I'm going to be a piece up. I think what we do is we just come after this pawn. That's our weakness. Hold Harry back. Come after the pawn. This pawn he is defended. I can defend this one with my bishop. From somewhere like here. It's not the easiest thing in the world. But I have a real tendency to start to rush when it comes to an endgame. And I don't have to do that. My job is to take out this pawn now. 1, 2, 1, 2. But then I have this, but then king can come here. Okay, you can't go there with a fork. I can push Harry at 1, I think. Point is as well, it gives me this for the bishop. So I think the idea is king g3. He has to come along, I think. Oh no, that's too slow. What am I talking about? Think here. Okay, I'm kind of eyeing up potential bishop fork. So he has to go there to defend the pawn, yes? Now if I like move my knight, I'm threatening this. Okay, he defends. Hit the king. King's going to go here. I do have a check. King goes here. He's on 2 seconds though. Ah, flagged him. That would have been interesting. It is a winning position though. The computer's saying +3, +4 for black. Sorry, -3, -4 for anything. Good game. Well played, bro. Right, let's have a look at the review. Particularly the opening. Somebody said in a comment, how often do you drill your openings? Well, I don't really drill my openings. I drill my openings with blitz to see how well I know them. 72 and 80.9 from me. That's really good. Guess the ELO? 1450 and 1700. Right, 1700 is absolutely my goal. And what I need to own to myself is I am capable of playing a game right into the end game at 1700 level. Yes, I am. No question about it. When I apply myself and try really hard. Okay, you've got 2 misses here. No blunders, happy about that. 1 mistake. So let's go through it. Bookity, 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 book. Bookity, bookity. Right, maybe inaccurate. I think it's knight f6. There it is, yeah. Also inaccurate. Losing a pawn. Now, this is the point where we had a really good think. I play queen takes. That is excellent. Is knight takes the best? No, it wasn't. Okay, what's the best move? One that I never even considered. Oh my gosh. Hang on. Okay, so knight here. Queen can't go there or there. Queen b5. Forces this mess of pawns. And then I win the pawn. Whoa. Okay. I'm going to look at that one more time. One more time. Because I bet this is a position that I have seen before. So Queen d3, let's just check. I'm going to go on the Explorer, right? Bear with me for a second. My game's as black. X to flip the board. And then we had this, which we pin. Then Queen d3. I play knight f6 because it's the right move. And this. No bugger's ever played it. I have had 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 20 games in this position. And nobody's ever played that before. Wow, wow, wow. Have the masters ever done it? No. Oh well. We have a novelty. So, there's no point remembering that move in terms of theory, really. But it's a smart move. I mean, the point of this is that it hits both of these two squares with a knight. And those two squares are the key squares for the queen to defend this. Now the queen could go back here. But if the queen goes back there, not good. Oh, because that pins the knight. It's still pinned and we take with the knight. Oh my god. You see what you can learn. Do your analysis, guys. Do one game. This is what I say to people. You've got, like, say you've got 60 minutes a day for chess, right? Do exactly what I've just done in this video. Yeah? Play one game, do your absolute best, and then analyze it. Because you get to learn stuff like this. Okay, this is excellent, and I actually slightly better already. That's what I like about the Steinitz. Okay, queen takes, trading queens is best. Rook takes was good, but bishop was better. Knight e5 hitting the rook. Yeah. Now I did think about that, and why didn't I play it now? Huh. Anyway, but I think that is fine, opening wise. Now, before you go, while I've got you, right? My tummy going. Going to look on the Lichess database, okay, we'll look at the opening position. So it's F to flip the board on Lichess. We're going to get to this like opening position on the Lichess players database. Okay, knight takes, queen h4. Okay, so we're looking at the move queen h4. Now I've got this set to blitz and above. Let's look at 1600. Okay, 1600, and queen h4 here. Look at, I mean, it's rare that you see this early, move 5 of the game, such a superior move. Look, 54%, everything else is in the 40s, everything's in the 40s for black. 54 bloody percent for queen h4, the Steinitz variation, okay? So, if you're at 1600 Lichess, which is like 1200 chess.com, play the bloody Steinitz. It's not hard, right? What about 1800? Right, 1800, bishop c5 starts to get good, you know, we're getting close. Queen h4, 53%. What are you thinking if you're not playing this thing at the intermediate level, right? Let's do it again, 2000. So 2000 is about maybe 1600, okay? Knight taking the knight, very bad move. Knight f6 now is slightly better for black at this level. But queen h4, 50% now. Okay, against 45. But then you've also got bishop b4 check. That's an interesting one. I don't even know that. What is that line? The Melaniuk variation. Huh. What is the idea? The idea is that you prompt c3 and then you move back to c5. Okay. Depriving this knight of his knight. Sorry, I'm geeking out, but yeah. Okay, that's interesting. Queen h4 here then is 50% for black against 45 for white. You get to 2200. Queen h4, is it on the radar? Queen h4 at 2200 is now no longer in the top list. Okay? If I play, it'll tell me the win rate. Now it's 46 for black against 48 for white. Why? Well, let's go down the most common moves. Bishop e4, bishop e2 now, better move. Queen takes here, knight b5. This is the critical move, like I'm saying, right? And now white wins 61% from this position, okay? So this is my point. There are openings. The Steinitz, let's say, is like, it's solid at intermediate level, but it is refuted at higher levels, which is why you will never see this played by black in a World Championship game, okay? Let's have a look at the Masters database as well on here. There, Queen h4. It is played with 266 games, right? And white wins 44% against 28. As you always get a lot more draws with Masters games because their endgames are so tight. Everything's so tight, right? But Queen h4 is actually almost best for white. Out of the top 6, 7, 8, it's best for white, okay? So the Steinitz is great at intermediate. If you're going to get up towards 1600, 1800 on chess.com, then you will find that your opponents are too well prepared because, bottom line, there is a refutation for it. But if you're an intermediate player, knock yourselves out, guys. I mean, the Scotch is a very, very dangerous opening, for sure. Here, knight f6 from at Masters level is just half the games are drawn. My goodness me. Right, what's best for black? Queen f6. Interesting one. Anyway, that's enough of that. So, yes, I do recommend the Steinitz if you're a beginner, if you're at intermediate. So if you are below 1600chess.com, knock yourselves out. It'll work really, really well for you. But know this, at some point you will need to switch up to something different in the Scotch if you are going to climb up towards expert level. Okay, that's it. Thank you for watching, everybody. See you soon.